be able to honor, what I say, because that's a serious commitment when you say you're gonna love someone for better, for worse, and like be faithful. That's a huge, am I able to do that?
You know when you think you've seen it all in celebrity drama and then one weekend just blows it wide open? Well, buckle up, because whatever you thought you knew about Justin Bieber's world right now, trust me, you don't. And after the week he's had? Phew, let's just say if you're a believer, you might want to brace yourself, because this is not the rollout anyone expected. And Hailey. Yeah, she's done. I mean, you can feel the frustration from here. And the fans? They're not just disappointed, they're embarrassed. Like, secondhand cringe embarrassed. This is bad. Like, career optics bad. And that's just the first half of what we need to talk about today. Because here's the thing, while the album chaos is spilling into the public eye, there's another storm quietly brewing in the background. A storm that has nothing to do with release dates or music videos, and everything to do with old wounds that never really healed. I'm talking about Justin, Selena, and yes, Benny Blanco. And before you roll your eyes and think, oh, here we go again with the Elena throwbacks, no. This isn't just nostalgia tea. This is why Justin will always feel a certain way about Selena's love life, and why Benny Blanco might be hitting a nerve in ways even he didn't expect. But let's rewind. Picture this. The album was supposed to be a triumphant return, a statement era, a Justin's back moment. Instead, we've got missed deadlines, awkward interviews, weird social media posts, and a rollout so clumsy it's got fans asking if anyone is actually steering the ship. People are screenshotting everything. The hashtags are messy. The promo feels scattered. And then you have Hailey, who, by the way, has been here through all the ups and downs, now dropping little hints that she's not exactly thrilled. The side-eye moments, the subtle unfollows, the cryptic captions. It's giving fed-up wife who's over it. And I don't blame her. But when fans start clowning the album before it even drops, that's a whole different level of bad press. Now here's where it gets tricky, because while all this chaos is happening, Justin's social media activity is telling a whole different story. He's liking certain posts, ignoring others, and leaving digital breadcrumbs that have fans connecting dots in ways that are, let's just say, less than flattering. And guess who's in the middle of those fan theories? Yup, Selena. And Benny. And before you think this is all fanfiction level speculation, nope. The timing, the public comments, the way certain interviews have been handled, it's all fueling this idea that Justin's never quite moved on emotionally. Even if he's married, even if he's happy, there's this lingering what if that people can't stop talking about. And Benny Blanco? Oh, he's not just sitting quietly. He's giving interviews. He's posting things that people are reading into. He's out here making public statements about Selena that would make any ex feel a certain way. And knowing Justin's history, his pride, and the fact that the internet never lets anything go, it's messy. It's so messy. And here's where both stories start to overlap, because while Justin's supposed to be in full-on promo mode for his music, his attention is split. His brand is split. His headlines are split. And instead of controlling the narrative, it's like the narrative is controlling him. In the next few minutes, we're gonna break down exactly how this album rollout went from can't wait to hear it to wow, this is awkward in record time, the behind-the-scenes missteps, the PR blunders, the fan reactions that even the most loyal believers are struggling to spin into a win. And then we're diving straight into the Selena Benny factor. The public moments that triggered fan theories, the subtle jabs that people think are happening on both sides, and the deeper reasons why Justin might never fully escape that chapter of his life, no matter how hard he tries. Because here's the thing, celebrity careers are about more than talent. They're about timing. They're about optics. And when your professional life and your personal history collide in public, the fallout can be brutal. Right now, Justin's dealing with both at once. And depending on how this plays out, we might be watching the most unpolished, unplanned, and unfiltered chapter of his career in years. This is one of those remember when moments in the making. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to see the connections that no one else is talking about yet. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. It is free and help us bring you enjoyable content. And of course, watch till the end. It started with a teaser that made absolutely no sense, and that's saying something in the age of cryptic celebrity marketing. A grainy vertical video, 30 seconds long, posted at 3:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to Justin Bieber's Instagram with the caption, "This is just the beginning. No date, no title, no track list." Just a shot of him sitting on what appeared to be the floor of a dimly lit studio, hoodie up, rocking back and forth as some ambient noise played in the background. It could have been an experimental art project, it could have been a behind-the-scenes moment someone accidentally uploaded, but no, apparently, this was the official kickoff of his new album era. Fans immediately flooded the comments. What is this? Are we supposed to be excited? Drop the single, Justin, I'm tired. And here's the thing. When you've been in the game as long as Bieber, who's navigated scandals, reinventions, and a pandemic-era music landscape, your album rollouts need to feel intentional. This felt like someone hit share before they had a plan. And that's when the whispers started. People in fan circles claiming the rollout was rushed. Tweets suggesting the label wasn't happy with the creative direction. Even casual listeners, who maybe hadn't kept up with every Bieber update since Peaches, were side-eyeing the whole thing, wondering if we were watching another celebrity PR ship take on water before it even left the dock. The Bieber machine, historically, knows how to build hype. Think about the Purpose era in 2015, sleek visuals, global hits, a redemption narrative. Even Changes in 2020, for all its mixed reviews, had a structured campaign, interviews, visuals, a documentary. But here in 2025, it was almost as if they decided to speed-run the entire process, hoping that rawness alone could carry the era. That might work for an indie darling building authenticity points, but for a superstar whose brand has been about polish, spectacle, and calculated vulnerability, it's risky. And not the fun kind of risky, the kind that makes people wonder if you've lost the plot. Within days, the weird teaser was joined by a second bizarre drop, a live stream, scheduled for 8 p.m. PST, it started almost an hour late, with Justin eventually appearing in what looked like his living room, guitar in hand, looking half asleep. He strummed a few chords, mumbled something about this record being from the heart, and then wandered off camera for several minutes. Comments were a mix of, "Is this a bit?" and "My Wi-Fi didn't crash, right?" The live stream ended abruptly after less than 15 minutes, leaving fans with no concrete details about the album. No date, no title, no single, just a vague "you'll see" before the screen went black. If this were a one-off awkward moment, maybe it would have been a charming "oh, Justin" kind of situation. But over the next few weeks, the mess piled up. A supposed lead single release date came and went without explanation. A pre-save link appeared on Spotify and then disappeared. Merchandise with pixelated, low-res designs popped up briefly on his site before being taken down. It was like watching someone try to assemble IKEA furniture without the instructions and live stream the whole disaster in real time. Industry watchers began comparing it to other infamous botched rollouts: Madonna's American Life video fiasco, Kanye's perpetually delayed Yandy, even the chaotic Lana Del Rey poetry book announcement. The difference? Those artists thrive on unpredictability. Justin, for better or worse, has always relied on the opposite. A brand that reassures fans he's got a handle on things, even when his personal life is making headlines. And speaking of his personal life, this is where Hailey enters the chat. Reports started surfacing, first in gossip forums, then in legit entertainment outlets, that Hailey Bieber was frustrated with the way things were going. Friends of the couple allegedly told reporters that she'd been urging Justin to stick to deadlines, approve marketing assets, and basically treat this like the high-stakes career moment it is. Because here's the truth, the pop landscape in 2025 is brutal. You can't just drop something half-baked and expect it to dominate. The TikTok-driven music economy moves fast, attention spans are shorter than ever, and you're competing with artists who have entire marketing teams whose full-time job is making every release feel like an event. Missing promo dates? Skipping interviews? That's not just artistic freedom, it's leaving money and momentum on the table. And Hailey, as someone who's built her own brand meticulously, probably knows exactly how damaging that can be. The couple's public appearances during this time didn't help the rumors. Paparazzi shots caught them leaving restaurants looking tense. At one event, Hailey was photographed walking ahead of Justin, phone in hand, looking visibly annoyed. Fans dissected every micro-expression, every angle, every frame. Was she over it? Was he ignoring her advice? Was this the celebrity equivalent of watching your friend's relationship unravel on Instagram stories? Now, to be fair, celebrity gossip has a way of turning normal couple dynamics into soap operas. Maybe she was just having a bad day. But when you combine those images with the obvious mess of the rollout, it fed into a larger narrative. Justin was floundering, and Hailey was tired of playing damage control. And that's when the memes started. Twitter was flooded with reaction GIFs of people pretending to delete Bieber promo posts. TikTok creators made parodies of the non-existent album campaign, with one viral video showing a fake Bieber team meeting where everyone just stared at each other in silence. Even stan accounts, usually the backbone of online promo, started openly clowning the situation. That's bad, because if your own fan base is embarrassed to promote your work, you've lost the most valuable grassroots marketing you can get. Behind the scenes, according to industry whispers, there was tension between Bieber's team and his label. Some sources claim the label had wanted a more conventional rollout, polished visuals, coordinated singles, the whole package, while Justin had pushed for something looser, more in the moment. That could have been interesting if it was executed with intention. But intention requires infrastructure, and infrastructure requires someone actually keeping track of the moving parts. From the outside, it looked like no one was steering the ship. And yet, here's where it gets complicated. Not all of this chaos was necessarily career-ending. Pop culture loves a redemption arc. If Justin were to pull off a last-minute save, a surprise drop that's actually brilliant, a performance that goes viral for the right reasons, this whole messy lead-up could be reframed as part of the plan. We've seen it happen before. Think of Beyoncé's surprise album drop in 2013. That wasn't chaos, but it was unconventional at the time, and it worked because the art and execution matched the hype. The difference is that Beyoncé's team had everything airtight behind the scenes. Justin's team? At this point, fans were joking that even they didn't know when the album was coming out. The question hanging over all of this was simple. Is this just artistic freedom gone rogue, or is it a full-blown PR nightmare? Artistic freedom, in theory, is about stripping away the commercial noise and letting the art speak for itself. But when your art depends on mass distribution, streaming numbers, and chart placement to survive in the modern industry, you can't just ignore the commercial side without consequences. And that's why this rollout, for all its raw appeal, felt like it was actively sabotaging his own comeback moment. Because make no mistake, this album was supposed to be a comeback. After a few years of sporadic releases, tabloid coverage of his marriage, and health challenges that kept him out of the spotlight, this was meant to be the project that reminded people why he's still one of the defining pop voices of his generation. Instead, it became a case study in how not to re-enter the cultural conversation. As weeks turned into months, the missed opportunities piled up. Music festivals passed without a Bieber appearance. Collaborations that could have reignited interest. Rumored tracks with The Weeknd, Kali Uchis, even a possible Drake feature, stayed unreleased. By the time the actual album date was finally announced, via a random tweet from his manager, not Justin himself, the hype had turned into fatigue. People weren't asking, when is it coming, anymore. They were asking, do we even care anymore? And that's the thing about momentum. Once it's gone, it's hard to get back. Especially in an era where another viral hit is always one scroll away. This is where a good PR team earns their paychecks, by reframing, re-engaging, re-strategizing. But instead of leaning into a redemption narrative, Justin seemed to retreat further. A handful of magazine interviews came out, but they were vague and filled with the same talking points. It's from the heart. I'm just creating what I feel. I don't care about numbers. Those sound bites might resonate with hardcore fans, but to casual listeners, the ones you need to turn an album into a cultural moment, it reads as detached, maybe even dismissive. And detachment is dangerous when you're competing for attention against artists who are literally building universes around their albums. Compare this to someone like Taylor Swift, who's turned her releases into immersive cultural events, or Doja Cat, whose visuals, performances, and online presence are meticulously synced to her music drops. Even artists with more niche audiences are out here creating multi-platform campaigns that make you feel like you're missing out if you're not engaged. With Justin's rollout, the only thing you were missing out on was confusion. And yet, and this is important, the music itself wasn't bad. In fact, when the album finally dropped, critics noted that it had some of his most vocally confident performances in years, with production that blended his pop R&B roots with more experimental sounds. Tracks like the opener hinted at vulnerability, while others showcased the kind of breezy summer energy he's always excelled at. But by then, the narrative had already been written. The reviews weren't just about the songs, they were about the rollout, the mess, the missed chances. And in pop culture, narrative often trumps reality. Which brings us to the bigger lesson here, one that extends beyond Bieber. In 2025, the line between art and marketing isn't just thin. It's practically non-existent. Your rollout is part of the art. It's the context in which the music is received, the frame around the painting. If that frame is cracked, uneven, or clearly falling apart, people are going to talk about it more than the painting itself. And that's why, whether you think this was artistic freedom or a PR nightmare, it's a moment worth unpacking. Because the truth is, it's probably both. Artistic freedom without structure can look like chaos. PR control without artistic freedom can feel sterile. The sweet spot is somewhere in the middle, and finding it is harder than ever in an industry where every move is dissected in real time. For Justin, this era will likely be remembered less for the music and more for the way it unraveled. But if pop culture history has taught us anything, it's that careers aren't defined by one flop era. They're defined by how you bounce back. And maybe, just maybe, this messy chapter will give him the clarity to stage the kind of comeback that silences the noise and reminds people why they cared in the first place. Until then, we're left with the memes, the live streams, the pixelated merch, and the eternal question, what was the plan here? Because whether you're a believer or just someone who loves a good celebrity saga, you can't deny, this was one of the wildest, weirdest, most frustrating pop rollouts in recent memory. And if nothing else, it's a reminder that in 2025, the internet will roast you just as quickly for doing too much as it will for doing too little. The trick is knowing the difference. In another news,
All my problems. Maybe you're not the person that you necessarily thought that you were.
some love stories end quietly, fading into memory, and others burn so brightly they never truly go out. They just smolder in the background, ready to flare up again at the smallest spark. For over a decade, Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez have been one of pop culture's most emotionally charged pairings, a romance that has shaped fan culture, inspired music, and created endless speculation. But today, the focus isn't on the good old days. It's on what's happening right now, in real time, as Selena finds a new kind of happiness with music producer Benny Blanco and Justin struggles, whether he admits it or not, with the reality of seeing someone he once loved so deeply. Someone who defined his youth, thriving in someone else's arms. And while the tabloids might frame it as moving on, the truth, according to the eagle-eyed fandom, is that Justin's jealousy is far from subtle. You can see it in the way he reacts, the way he posts, the way certain moments seem too perfectly timed to be coincidence. The Yelena era may be over, but the emotional aftershocks? Oh, those are very much alive. If you only skim headlines, you might think Justin is living his best life, married to Hailey, launching brands, making music, but those who have followed every beat of his career know how to read the subtext. And the subtext says this: he hasn't fully let go of Selena. It's not something he'll say out loud, of course. It's in the little things. The way he pauses when her name comes up in interviews, the flicker in his eyes that fans swear they've seen before, The song lyrics that just so happen to echo sentiments he once expressed to her. And then there's the timing, like when Selena and Benny share a particularly sweet public moment, and within hours, Justin drops a cryptic Instagram story that feels like it's meant for someone, even if he never tags them. One moment that sent fans into full-blown theory mode happened after a red carpet appearance, where Selena looked radiant alongside Benny. Justin posted a black-and-white throwback shot with a caption about "real ones never leaving." Coincidence? Maybe. But in the Elena fandom, coincidence is just another word for clue. Selena has been through enough public breakups, health battles, and career shifts to know the value of protecting her peace. And with Benny Blanco, fans say they've never seen her this at ease. Their relationship isn't loud or performative. It's intimate, creative, and rooted in mutual respect. Benny isn't just a partner. He's a collaborator, a confidant, someone who speaks her artistic language fluently. And it shows. Her energy is different now. She's glowing in a way that can't be faked. The smile reaches her eyes, the laughs are unforced, and the way she leans into him in photos says more than 100 interviews ever could. Fans are celebrating this chapter for her, but they also know this is exactly the kind of transformation that can hit an ex like a sucker punch. Justin knew a different Selena, a younger, more uncertain version who was still finding herself. Now, she's a woman fully in control, and the fact that someone else gets to experience this evolved, empowered Selena? That's a twist that's hard to watch if you once believed you'd be the one by her side forever. To outsiders, this might seem like a normal evolution, but for Justin, who knew her in some of her most vulnerable years, seeing her like this, fulfilled and understood by someone else, may stir up a cocktail of emotions that's hard to swallow. It's not just about love lost. It's about watching someone you once shared everything with find something better. Jealousy rarely announces itself with fireworks. It's in the moments when the mask slips. Justin is polished in public, but there have been flashes where something raw cuts through. A carefully worded interview answer that suddenly turns sharp when her name is mentioned. A performance where he changes a lyric ever so slightly to make it feel personal again. A like and then an unlike. On a fan account post about Selena. Social media sleuths catch these moments in seconds, and the receipts spread like wildfire. Then there are the reactive posts, the shirtless selfie after a wave of Selena Benny headlines, the romantic Hailey appreciation post that lands suspiciously close to Selena trending worldwide. The sudden burst of nostalgic captions that feel aimed at someone specific. These may be small things in isolation, but together they paint a picture of a man who still feels the sting. The Elena truthers never rest. Entire TikTok accounts are dedicated to decoding Justin's possible subliminal messages, with side-by-side comparisons of old and new footage. Threads on X break down timelines, pointing out how his mood seems to shift after big Selena Benny milestones. Some fans play the role of armchair psychologists, analyzing body language and tone. Others dig through archives for parallels between current posts and past Elena moments. The conversation is polarized. Some believe Justin's behavior is just normal human nostalgia and the internet is reading too much into it, while others are convinced it's proof he's still emotionally tethered to Selena in a way that goes beyond casual curiosity. Either way, the speculation fuels engagement, and in celebrity culture, attention is its own currency. Others are more critical, suggesting he should focus on his own life and stop letting the past linger. Either way, the online conversation is alive and buzzing, making this story one of the most talked about celebrity dynamics right now. It's impossible to understand Justin's jealousy without revisiting the magnitude of what he had with Selena. They met as teenagers and grew up together under the relentless glare of fame. Their relationship was a whirlwind of passion, breakups, and reconciliations that played out in real time for millions of fans. She was his muse for some of his biggest hits, and he was her partner in some of her most formative years. That kind of history doesn't disappear. It leaves an emotional imprint that shapes every relationship after it. And when you see that person, the one who shared your most vulnerable moments, thriving with someone else, especially someone who mirrors your own passions and profession, it's natural for something deep to stir. For Justin, Benny isn't just another guy. He's a reminder that Selena has found someone who not only loves her but gets her in the exact way he once did, and maybe in ways he never could. Letting go of that kind of bond isn't as simple as moving on to someone new. And no matter how much time passes, the emotional imprint remains. Benny's presence in Selena's life isn't just about romance. It's about a man stepping into a space that Justin once occupied, bringing a sense of understanding and stability that might make Justin reflect on what he lost. Selena has made it clear she's moved forward with Benny, and Justin has built a life with Hailey, but the undercurrent between them is undeniable. Will Justin finally cut the last emotional ties and truly let go, or will Selena's ongoing happiness with Benny continue to spark those flickers of jealousy? Will Benny and Selena's creative synergy grow into a power couple legacy that overshadows the Elena years, or will some twist, public or private, pull all three back into the same headline? In Hollywood, stories like this don't end cleanly. They evolve, they circle back, they find ways to stay relevant. And as long as there's a camera flash, a red carpet, or an Instagram story, fans will be watching and guessing. Because in the end, this isn't just about who's with who. It's about history, heartache, and the lingering truth that sometimes the hardest thing to do is truly let go.